Hi, Phillips Creek Ranch artists. This is Miss Cyberling, and I'm here to do an online art project with you. We're going to create some really fun, whimsical flowers to celebrate spring. And guess what? They're made from egg cartons and just things that you have probably laying around the house. All right? So just watch the videos, get creative, and see what you can do to celebrate spring. Okay, step one is to cut all the extra pieces off of your egg carton. So I'm cutting off that little lip, and I'm cutting off the lid, and I can set that aside. Maybe I can use that for something else later. And now I'm ready to cut out some of my pieces for my flowers. Now, if you have a hard time doing this, you can always get a parent to help, but you can see my scissors aren't super big scissors and I'm able to do it. So I'm gonna set a couple of my little cups of my egg carton free, and then I will start shaping my flower. Okay, so now I'm just gonna cut some of these pointy edges. I'm gonna cut some of these pointy edges off of my little cups that I have here. And this one, I'm gonna go ahead and just round that into a petal. I'm just gonna kind of wing it here and see what I get. So I'm gonna cut this little section out because it's kind of weird. And then I'm gonna cut some V shapes. Okay, and once I get these little V shapes cut, then I'm gonna go ahead and go in and round these like they're flower petals. All right, now I kind of want my flower to go out more, so I'm gonna cut some little slits here between the petals and here and here and here. And then I can just take my fingers and I can just kind of bend these out like this. Now these two petals are much bigger, I can see now, so I'm gonna go in and just make, this will be a little miniature flower. I'm gonna make that a little smaller. I'll make this one a little smaller too. Okay, so there's my first little flower, and your petals don't have to be perfect because if you look at a real flower, none of the petals are exactly the same. Okay, so there's my first attempt at a little egg carton flower. Okay, I'm gonna attempt a daisy now. So to start the daisy, I'm gonna go ahead and cut these kind of pokey pieces off and just get a nice kind of round, smooth edge here. And then I'm just gonna go in and cut some straight pieces all the way around like this. Let's see if this works. Okay, now I'm gonna take this and I'm just gonna bend these. Oh yeah, that looks like a daisy, huh? There we go, there's my attempt at a daisy. Bubble flower, kind of like a daffodil. So you can see I have some squared off kind kind of pointed sides here. I'm gonna go ahead and make this one smaller to kind of match the others, okay? And then I'm going to, right here, cut a V so that they all match. Then I'm going to cut down and down. Oops. And down and down. And this will allow me to kind of bend these out. Okay, and now you can see my petals are kind of wonky. So now I'm gonna do some trimming. I'm just gonna get some of these bad edges off, kind of give them all some kind of some pointy. There we go. I think that one's okay. This one needs a little help. Okay, so there's the outside of my daffodil. Okay, now I'm gonna make the middle of my daffodil. So I'm gonna take a Sharpie and I'm gonna make a small circle in the middle here because I'm gonna wanna trim way into this one because I want it to kind of fold up. You can use a pencil, a Sharpie, a pen, whatever you have. And then before I do anything, I'm gonna find my lowest section and I'm gonna kind of just trim around. I might go a little higher than that lowest section. I'm just gonna trim all those kind of fuzzy pieces off like that. It's kind of where they folded the egg carton and it's not smooth. All right, so now I have this and I'm gonna take my scissors and I'm just going to start cutting in and I'm gonna stop my scissors. I'm gonna make that a little smaller. I'm gonna stop my scissors right at that circle that I drew, but just be really careful. You don't wanna make these so thin that you actually cut one off. So if you can see what I'm doing is I'm just cutting these little pieces and I'm just cutting them all the way into this circle. So here's what that looks like after I cut everything all the way into that circle that I drew. Now I'm just gonna take it all and pinch it up. And once I get it pinched up, then I will glue it into my daffodil. So I haven't done that yet. I've got to paint it first, but then I'm gonna have kind of a daffodil looking flower. Okay, now I'm gonna start coloring my flowers. I'm gonna start out here with my daffodil type flower. I'm just gonna use some, this is acrylic paint. I'm just gonna get this acrylic paint on here. And I think I am going to choose to paint both sides because I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with these yet. I'm at least gonna paint the outside of the petals. I don't think I'll paint the middle. So I'm gonna paint these. If you have tempera paint, that would work as well. You can also use Sharpies. Regular Crayola markers don't work as well because unless you have a white, if you have a white egg carton, they will work. But if it's kind of that plasticky kind of egg carton, you're gonna wanna use Sharpie because the Crayola crayon paint or the Crayola crayon markers won't adhere to that because they're washable. They'll just wash right, they'll just wipe right off. They'll rub off. So if you do have the white egg cartons that's kind of plasticky, then my suggestion would be to use Sharpies. And I'm gonna put another little coat on here just to get it nice and saturated. Mostly what's gonna show here is these petals, not the center. And then another thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take a little orange and I'm just gonna kind of very lightly kind of come up like this. Okay, so there's my outside of my daffodil type flower. Here's the inside. I'm gonna spread it out. And I think I might make the inside of this one orange. And this is pretty messy, you can see, so I'm definitely gonna wash my hands right after I do it and not touch anything. I'm not wearing a nice shirt that I care about. And I'm doing it on a paper plate so that it can dry. Now I'm gonna take yellow for the outside, but it's kind of mixing with that orange. I love to kind of let my colors mix together and see what I get and not keep putting my brush in water. If you do put your brush in water when you're using acrylic paint, it's always a good idea after you clean it off to have a paper towel handy and kind of blot it dry before you put it in the next color, because acrylic paint doesn't really like a lot of water on the brush. It's not like watercolor. All right, I'm gonna let this dry and then I'll probably come back and work on the middle a little bit. Okay, here you can see I've finished painting some of my flowers. It took me a while because I had to do a couple of coats, and I also painted the back of some of them. I went ahead and glued the middle into my little daffodil. That's what it looks like. I just glued a pom-pom into the middle of this little pink flower, and it's looking pretty cute. And what I did is I just went and raided my craft closet. So I found some pom-poms, I found some buttons, I found some little cloth flowers that I had, I found some star stickers and some beads, and then I also found some of these little gemstones with stickers, and that's what I'm going to use to start putting in the middles of my flowers. So maybe I'll do some of these little gemstones in here. Maybe and these are already sticky on the back, so I think I can just stick these in here. That's pretty cute. If you do need to glue something, a good choice is this glue. If you have some, you can use Elmer's. It probably will just take a little longer for Elmer's to adhere, so you're just going to need to let it sit for a while. That looks pretty cute. I'm going to put some of this glue in here and put a button. I do like those sequins though, those are cute. But I'm going to kind of do something different in each one of my flowers just to give them some personality. You could also use paper and kind of twirl it around. I'm wondering what this, oh, that's cute in there. Okay, I'll show you when I'm done. Okay, here are my flowers with some of their middles that I put in from my craft closet. Here's one with the cupcake liner. Here are some daffodils I made. I had an egg carton that was already yellow, so I went ahead and made these two daffodils. So there's really all sorts of, really nothing that can stop you. You can do all different things. I actually made this flower with, and I haven't put a middle in it yet, but I made this with fingernail polish because I thought if you don't have paint, you might have fingernail polish. Now I went into my craft closet. I found a bunch of straws. I found pipe cleaners. I found some wire. And then I was also thinking I probably could use, here's my wire. I probably could use some barbecue skewers, but I think I'm actually going to use these green straws for the stems, and then I can also bend them. I'm going to hot glue these on, but they would work with the tacky glue or even tape. You would just have to let them dry a little longer. So let me put these on and I'll show you the finished product. Okay, here's my finished project. I found some ribbon in my sewing kit and tied a cute little bow around everything, and now it's ready for display. Who would have ever thought that at one time this was just a gray egg carton? Now it's a beautiful bouquet of flowers. Have fun creating yours.